All
All
right,
right,
everybody. Oh,
Hello,
sorry, I didn't mean to
hello,
cut you off,
hello.
Cody. We are live, coming in at you late this evening.
Got a special midnight showing for you.
Yeah, we had a double feature, and we watched Planet Terror, and we watched.
The faculty.
Sorry, guys, The Faculty. Thank you so much, Nick.
yes, for
Both,
spooky season and Robert Rodriguez double feature since it's going to be Hispanic Latino Heritage Month. I thought both these movies showed up on a list of movies to watch that people like to watch for Halloween, and I was like, well, that fits. And Robert Rodriguez is a director of this heritage, so let's talk about two of his movies.
both of these
And good
movies,
choices. I had.
oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I had totally forgotten that he had directed The Faculty.
oh yeah, and both of these movies I have seen for the first time.
Okay,
Yeah,
The Faculty, I hadn't watched since, I mean, VHS, or probably it might have been early DVD days, but it's been years. Like, to the point to where I didn't really remember anything about it other than it being kind of like a teen remake of Body Snatchers.
Yeah,
yeah,
they even lampshade that whole thing. It's like,
yeah.
yeah, it's okay. It's like, yeah, we're total. It's like, but we're totally not ripping off Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's more of an homage.
Right. And
But
we get pre Hobbit Elijah, and we get uh, pre
Well, pre
World
Daily
War
Show.
II, pre Pearl
Free
Harbor John
Daily
Carpenter.
Show John Stewart, because this movie came out in 1998, and I believe
Yeah.
he didn't take over the Daily Show till '99.
Yep.
Right, and he showed up in. Let's see, when did Death to Smoochie come out? Wasn't that like
That's
while he was still
2000.
'02.
dabbling? Oh two,
Oh,
yeah, because
oh two.
he was still dabbling in acting.
It's funny you mentioned, Chris, that you forgot he directed this, because I guess he didn't really do a lot other than direct this movie, because normally Robert Rodriguez does everything in his movie besides act in it. You
Oh
know, he
right,
write
Oh yeah, because one thing I noticed in Planet Terror is the music. It's like he kind of does the John Carpenter thing.
Yeah, I think in Planet Terror, he's very much homaging John Carpenter with that music.
Yeah.
But yeah, normally he writes, he directs, he does the music, he edits the movie. Sometimes I think he's even the cinematographer, and he usually cooks for his cast and crew.
you
Jeez,
know
man.
it's funny you mentioned that because on the special edition to Sin City, he does a little cooking segment at the beginning. It's in the special features, and me and a friend of mine followed that, and it was like making breakfast burritos.
Uh huh.
And he shows you how to make tortillas and stuff like that. And we did it. We did everything from scratch, following Robert Rodriguez, and they turned out pretty good. Turned out pretty damn good.
Oh, I gotta look at that. I don't have Sin City on DVD, but I'm sure I could find that special feature somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure it's
Yeah,
floating around on YouTube.
if you can find a copy, it's probably a little bit harder to find, but if you can find a copy that separates the stories instead of watching it all in one, it kind of is even more faithful to those Frank Miller stories. Like you can watch them separately instead of as like one
Yeah.
chunk of a movie.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
I like them split up like that, like they were in the, because they play them in order too. Like they play them in order of the comic or the graphic
Uh huh.
novel,
mhm.
and a lot of people. I guess that kind of got played out. I know Frank Miller tried to go back and do the Spirit in that style of Sin City, and it did not work.
It was
Because I think by then it was played out. I mean, people were. You had Snyder doing it with 300 and Watchmen. And those were almost those weren't exact shot for shot, but they had a lot of iconic scenes and stuff, and it was familiar enough that he got away with it. But I think people were getting tired of the shot for shot remakes of the graphic novels.
Yeah, since to me, Sin City was probably the only time when it really worked.
Right.
Because it was shot for shot, but each comic panel could just work as a storyboard. And at first I kind of realized, because I've heard about how Frank Miller got screwed around in Hollywood. First with the RoboCop sequels, because he wrote the sequels to RoboCop 2 and 3. And then I remember there was an animated adaptation of another book of his, Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot. And, yeah, but apparently he didn't like what they did, how they treated him during RoboCop. So he said he wouldn't work in Hollywood again until Robert Rodriguez showed him what was that story from Sin City? It says, if you like it, it'll be the first shot of the movie. If you don't, you'll have something to show your friends.
I think it's the Marv one, the Hard Goodbye or whatever it's called. So I think it's one of those shots. Or it may have been a shot that Rodriguez did in style, because I think it's been a while since I've seen the first Sin City. I think he does little segments in between the shorts that were like just his own creation in vein of that.
Yeah. Did Robert Rodriguez do the? I remember there was another Sin City movie that came out years after the first one, and it kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah, he directed it. They only adapt one actual story from those graphic novels, and the rest are a collab between Rodriguez and Miller as original stories.
I heard Eva Green was the MVP for that movie.
Yeah, she's the dame to kill for in that, and that's the story they did.
Yeah. Well, going back to the movies at hand, let's start with the Faculty here. Like we were already talking about pre-Hobbit Elijah Wood, pre-Daily Show era Jon Stewart.
Yep.
Yeah,
go ahead, Chris.
Oh no, I was gonna say Pearl Harbor. Hartnett as well.
Josh Hartnett. Oh god. Oh, pre-X-Men Famke Jensen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and with all that talent, they made a shit movie.
Yeah, it was. Excuse me.
Yeah. As Bill Murray once said, "Oh my gosh, does that suck?"
It was rough. Like, I think the nostalgia, it's like watching Scream. Okay, it's rough. Yeah, it's a product of its time, but it's fun. I mean,
was totally interesting you mentioned like Scream, which I think Scream is a much better made movie than The Faculty, even though I think The Faculty is still fun, even though it's schlocky.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It had the same screenwriter, Kevin Williamson.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. It was written by Kevin Williamson, who wrote the Scream script. But what I thought was interesting is I think it listed 2 other writers, and then it said screenplay. So I'm wondering if the script already existed, and the Weinsteins had Williamson come in and like polish it up for like more snappy dialogue or something.
Probably. Like,
Which
also, there's there's
Or
okay. There's
from the
3
Weinstein.
screen. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, being the Weinsteins, it would have been more cringe, lesbian jokes.
Oh yeah.
Which they're still in there. Which, speaking of cringe, this movie has 3 sexual predators involved in it.
Ooh. Okay. Let's
No.
put a pin. I was gonna say there was 3 screenwriters that we know about.
Right.
There are probably a whole ton of script doctors who got paid and probably, but not credited. But yeah, let's talk about these unsavory people.
Well, nobody has a big part except, Harvey Weinstein was an executive producer on this. So there's one guy. Next guy, That 70s Show guy, who's one of the guys trying to buy drugs off of Josh Hartnett.
I recognized him.
And then, if you guys remember Ain't It Cool News, the website, their webmaster, Harry Knowles, is in this as one of the faculty members.
That was Harry Knowles.
Wait,
yep.
Who did he play?
Yeah.
He's the guy that Selma Hayek is bandaging up in the faculty room, and he's talking about faulty material or...
I did not.
Okay,
I was like, holy crap, that looks like Harry Knowles, but before he was wheelchair bound.
But yeah, I did not know that about. Well, I was one of those handful of people who never followed Ain't It Cool News. So,
well, in 2017, post Harvey Weinstein, several women came out that Harry Knowles either sexually harassed them, or none of these are rape allegations, but they were talked about how he either like touched them or groped them without consent.
Which is shitty in and of itself.
Yes, it's still sexual misconduct and wrong.
Yeah. I knew. I kind of cringed at even before all of the allegations came out against Harvey Weinstein. I never really liked him as a producer because I remember the story about how he started a smear campaign against Saving Private Ryan so that Shakespeare in Love would win at the Oscars.
Yeah, he had a reputation before we knew he was a rapist of being a bad person and not a nice guy, and muscling whatever movie he had produced to get into the Oscars. I mean, Nolan Bros, you can be mad at Harvey Weinstein. He is the reason The Dark Knight did not get a Best Picture nomination, because he muscled The Reader into getting a Best Picture nomination.
And I have never even heard of The Reader until just now.
Well, Kate Winslet won an Oscar, but it's basically Oscar Beatty movie, right? Ralph Fiennes reminisces about when he was a young man and he had an affair with an older woman who apparently used to be a Nazi. Played by Kate Winslet.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Well.
Wow.
Yep, and it got a Best Picture nom over The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying that there are better movies out there, but there are better movies out there than what that sounds like. So
it's what people like Tarantino would accuse the Oscar movies being like in that time period.
Oh God.
Okay,
Let's see. Yeah. Speaking of Tarantino at the Oscars, I remember that one year when Inglourious Basterds was nominated for Best Picture, and when Zero Dark 30 won over
Was the Hurt Locker?
No. Oh yeah. Oh, it was a Hurt Locker. I thought it was
Yes.
Zero. I thought it was Zero Dark 30, but
No, that was her follow up to the Hurt Locker.
okay. So, yeah. So bottom line, um, Catherine Bigelow ends up winning an Oscar, and her ex-husband was a better sport than Tarantino.
Yeah, Tarantino's still shady. He hasn't gotten a director Oscar, even though he has 2 screenplay Oscars.
Yeah. I
we'll,
mean,
we'll get into Tarantino here in a little bit because
okay. Yeah,
I
let's.
thought it was pretty hilarious what happened in Planet Terror.
Yes. Yes.
And even though I like his movies, I don't like him as a person, and I enjoyed watching what happened to him in that movie.
Yeah.
But she turned away and she was
agree.
like, "Oh wait, no, that's good. It's good that's happening to him."
But yeah, Nick, you're right. This isn't a great movie, but I'm with Chris. I do have fun with it. Like, I think Robert Patrick is having a blast playing the coach, and he even gets to do his T-1000 run.
Yeah.
It just has Invaders from Mars vibe all over, like a.
Oh, totally.
We got a remake in the '80s. That was like a remake from the '90s. It's fun. It's campy. And it takes you back to a time where there was just chalk, denim, and khaki.
I will say
And hair
I
gel.
probably would have enjoyed it
flannel
more.
shirts.
Oh yeah.
Had you watched it when it came out?
or watched it with friends? When
Oh,
it
yeah.
came out.
And-
I watched
yeah.
this on HBO Max by myself. So
Right.
Yeah, it'd have been better to roast with someone, but
yeah.
And we got Carrie's mom. She's great, but that's because she's a great actress.
Yeah.
right.
Frasier's wife is the principal.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh
Not-
God.
Yeah, BB Newirth. Selma Hayek shows up as the nurse, and Jon Stewart tries to hit on her. Doesn't go well.
Yeah, Jon Stewart's the science teacher with a goatee of everything.
Uh-huh.
Like, honestly, he looks better with the full-on beard, but that goatee, that is another 90, something that is very 90s.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Oh, man.
Men
You should
in
check
goatees.
Check his haircut out in Death to Smoochie.
Oh, G will not stop talking about Jon Stewart's haircut in Death to Smoochie. She says the haircut does the acting for him.
In Death to Smoochie, where it was
And
that
all-
generic, like every boy band had it in the early 2000s, in the aughts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and Josh Hartnett with that haircut. It was.
Oh man,
I don't understand. I really don't understand how
Oh, it
that
happened.
haircut
It happened.
just. Yeah, I know.
We have to embrace it.
And also, as speaking as someone who works and interacts with children in a school setting, this high school would have been shut down years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's in the bad part of town, or it's just a poor school district.
So do you
small
guys
town.
think? Do you
Yeah.
guys think this movie was shot in Ohio?
I'm not
I don't
sure because
No, it was shot in Texas.
I was gonna say I saw
Hey.
those school buses with ISD written on that, and that is a distinctly Texas thing, like independent school districts.
Yeah. Because it's Robert Rodriguez, it was shot in Texas. I was gonna say, I don't know.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Okay,
I mean, he shoots everything around Austin or Texas.
I am gonna look this up now. I want to find out where this was where exactly this was filmed.
somewhere in the Austin area. In fact, I know people that I went to Lon Morris with that were extras in this movie.
Oh, that's cool.
And speaking of Ain't It Cool News, one of the other writers that used to write for Ain't It Cool News, his name is Eric Vespi. He does the Stephen King podcast. He's an extra in here, and him and Elijah Wood have been friends ever since this movie.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, actually, I'm thinking about that. You know, going with that whole another tradition of teen movies. I think Elijah Wood is the only cast member who is
An actual teenager?
under 18 when this came out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
'cause
he was 17.
Yeah,
I think he turned 19 in New Zealand for while he was filming Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
And everybody else was either like 20 or like
25.
Yeah, I think the football guy was like 25.
Yeah, and then they try to lampshade that by saying that Josh Hartnett's character got held back.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because he shows up, the footballer, the jock, he shows up in Band of Brothers, which I'm currently rewatching.
Ah.
Okay.
Which is just, when that came out, when that was shot, it was just a few years, after this.
Yeah.
So, this movie was shot in Austin, San Marcos, Dallas, and Lockhart.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah, mainly Central and North Texas.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the preppy girl, for you Fast and Furious fans, is Vin Diesel's sister in those movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm looking at the cast list now, and I just see this Danny Masterson as fuck up number 1.
Hey, that's just
That
him
is
in
his-
real life.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he didn't have to act.
That, and he hides behind Scientology.
Oh God.
Oh,
yeah.
is he a Scientologist on top of being
Yes,
pervert?
they are the ones that has spearheaded his legal team. They put all the money up and spearheaded his legal team and his defense, and it's gross because
He's not coming back for that 90s show.
Yeah.
No,
Wait,
and that's fine. His character should be in prison. I think that would be fitting of Hyde. He's like he's in prison or over. He went to Mexico or something. Got lost.
Actually, what got me was Usher was in this movie.
Yep, Usher is a football, yeah.
Which is also funny because I remember watching him on The Bold and the Beautiful. And that's how I actually got hooked onto that soap opera because he was in it.
I think he ended up being in some other teen movie that is more obscure than this one, but it's like something about like kids being trapped in a high school overnight or something. I forget what it's called. But he did a couple of these.
But yeah, a lot of these people were before they were famous.
Yeah, it's a lot of up and coming, which I guess really, out of the young cast, Elijah Wood is really the only prominent actor still. Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I know he's been in other projects, but yeah, he's basically been raking up that Lord of the Rings money.
Although that Lord of the Rings residuals just got him covered.
But then you also got a bunch of like who's who of like character actors, because you got Robert Patrick and Piper Laurie and BB Newworth, and then there's that guy that's the history teacher. I don't know his name, but he was like in a crap ton of movies, usually playing a butthead.
See, and I'm actually looking at Laura Harris, who, basically spends half the third act naked.
Right, because it's trying, even though this target audience for this movie isn't old enough to have gone and saw this movie when it came out.
Yeah.
It's in that time period where we marketed R-rated movies still to children, but I guess teenagers.
Yeah.
But this is also fresh off the Scream success, so horror's back in, and we're like, oh, it's a horror movie, so you gotta have this stuff in there.
Yep.
Oh, so she was in Dead Like Me.
Oh yeah, the TV show.
Yeah.
Brian Fuller show.
But yeah,
Dead Like Me. Oh, we were
it's
talking about that the other day.
But there's it is a who's who of young up and coming actors. A lot of problematic people were in this movie, and the entire story itself is completely cheesy.
Yeah.
And that scene where Famke Janssen and Josh Hartnett have that sexual tension is not great. It's
Are you talking about the scene where she's like sort of hitting on him when she's trying to like take possession over him or whatever?
All the scenes with them together.
That's pretty much true. It's like, what is going on here?
And also playing the whole mousy teacher. No teacher would ever freaking act like that. Or let me put it, no teacher should act that meek. I mean, seriously, the whole point of being in school, and especially being in an English class, is to invoke discussion among students. I mean, I TA in an English class, and the one thing we say is, even if you hate it, give a good reason why. Support your statement.
Yep.
That school, it's like jocks.
Yeah, they just beat poor Elijah Wood half to death. I mean,
yeah,
and everybody's just like, oh yeah,
whatever. There's beating up the nerdy kid again.
And then in the end, he's hailed as the hero, and gets. I can understand that there is. They tried to build up to them having a relationship, but it was still poorly done.
It's cliched, and even his one-liner at the end of when he like takes out the main alien queen is not that great.
No, it is not.
But I think people have nostalgia for this movie from the late 90s. It is a product of its time. It definitely feels like a direct for hire job for Rodriguez, but I think some of the actors involved do make it a little bit more fun than what some of these other movies from that time period are.
Well,
it's not up at the Scream level, but it's not like Dude, Where's My Car level, though.
Well, Dude, Where's My Car was actually kind of entertaining.
We were talking about being set in Ohio. Lindsay brought up the fact that what Elijah Wood said about them choosing the middle of nowhere, ho-hum, to start an invasion, which was pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably the only smart thing done in this movie.
Yeah, she said the teachers and the staff were really well cast.
Yeah, and you got Clea Duvall, who pretty much played these roles all the time and still kind of plays these roles, even though she's an adult now.
Oh, and oh yeah, let's talk about Clea Duvall. The whole she's a lesbian kind of thing, and it turns out that she's gay in real life.
Yep. But, yep, product of its time. That part of the movie definitely is cringy and definitely dates it.
Uh huh. My I was 18 when this movie came out. I was too busy watching Blade.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
that was how they marketed this movie, though, is like, from the director of Desperado and From Dusk Till Dawn, and the writer of Scream.
Yeah, that's. You would think that would be a better combination, but it really wasn't. Like I wouldn't say Rodriguez is phoning it in because he's. I don't want to say Rodriguez was phoning it in, but he was probably phoning it in.
Well, he probably did it as a favor to get the Weinsteins to finance some other movie, maybe Spy Kids, because I think that's his next movie after this.
That was probably it.
It was probably like, okay, I'll direct this alien invasion teen movie if you let me do this weird kids spy family movie. And they're like, okay.
Which is ironically infinitely more enjoyable.
well, I like it. I like it for what it is. It's a big,
Yeah.
a big ball of cheese.
It's fun. It's not a great movie, but it's entertaining for me. Maybe mostly nostalgic purposes because I was only 13 or 14 when I saw this movie. So I was probably like the right age to watch it the first time.
I think it's nostalgia.
I can tell
The soundtrack, the aesthetic. Just
all the 90s alternative rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lindsay said nostalgia hits harder these days because of the state of the world we live in.
What I wouldn't give for an alien invasion compared to all the shit that's going on right now.
World. I was okay. What happened there? Are we okay?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it did like sounded like it died out for a minute. But.
Yeah. Well, I was probably sort of the target audience when this movie came out, and I missed it. Watching it now, I'm kind of glad I did.
After rewatching it, I can vividly remember seeing the previews and stuff, commercials on TV, and
I'll try to find them and try to post them on the website.
Yeah, I feel like this got previewed a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, I hear kind of an off story, but we're talking about previews. I hear next week I'm about to acquire over 1,000 VHS.
Dang.
Now get this, for $80. I'm kind of proud of myself on that. But this gentleman passed away, and his kids, his daughter-in-law is cleaning out his home, and apparently he was a collector, I guess, or a movie buff. And she's like, I need them gone. They're yours for $80. So I was like, deal. So after I get rid of all my doubles, what I plan to do is take and digitally record all of the previews, all of the coming attractions, everything from the start of the tape up to the point to where the movie starts, and then I'll stop it. So you get all those old, you know, all the cool stuff, all the trailers and the cool stuff you used to get at the beginning of VHS. I think it would be cool just to archive those and share them.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how that turns out.
Yeah, that
it'll be a
sounds like an
massive
interesting
undertaking.
endeavor.
Yeah,
So,
I've always wanted to do it, and I finally, I have two VHS players ready to go, and they have a device that you can just it's got the prongs on one end and a USB on the other, and you plug it into your computer, and you can digitally record your VHS.
Oh wow.
okay. So
So
yeah,
so I thought that would be
physical
kind of
media
cool.
is still hanging in there.
And
yeah.
it should, because you know why? Because just because something's on a streaming service doesn't mean it'll stay on a streaming service. And also, even your digital copies you buy off Amazon, Vudu, anywhere, they can take it off at any time.
Right.
Yeah, actually, there's that whole thing with HBO Max scrubbing Infinity Train, and people are pretty pissed about that.
Yeah.
Man, yeah.
So, and also, your internet is not always working. So, sometimes you want to watch a movie. You shouldn't have to rely on an internet connection to watch a movie.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny that the whole streaming it's like format wars from regular show is what your talk is reminding me of.
Yeah. But I guess, are you guys ready to get into some Planet Terror?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, let's
let's.
talk Planet Terror because I absolutely I love this movie, and I know it's gross, but I grew up watching you know Monster Vision and Joe Bob Briggs and renting really bad B horror movies, growing up, and I like what he did. I like what they both did. I like both movies. I went to the theater and got to see them back to back. It was a fun experience, but it's so over the top and gross and cheesy that it's just in that popcorn fun gross out category. It's
Yeah,
nothing special at all. Like it's meant to be just ridiculous, and that's what I love about it.
yeah, I can tell a lot of the actors were having fun, and the special effects, the makeup effects people were definitely having fun with this movie.
Well, it's Greg
Oh,
Nicotero doing the makeup, but you got makeup legend Tom Savini in the movie.
yes, I was going to mention Tom Savini.
But yeah,
Jeff
this was
Fahey, Michael Biehn.
Jeff Fahey's having a blast in this movie.
Oh god, is my cat in the shot? Oh yeah, my cat's in the shot. He's decided he wants to be in the show now.
But yeah, this is Rodriguez and Tarantino's ode to exploitation, grimy movies of the 70s that would sometimes have really bad prints, and sometimes the audio would be off, or sometimes the reels would be missing, or
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I was like, me. Wait, what? Real missing? It's like, ugh.
Okay, a perfect example of this that a lot of people will go, "Oh, okay," is uh, the original Evil Dead.
yeah.
That's what they're paying homage to. Because if you go back and look all through the 70s and throughout the 80s, there's just a whole slew of straight to video, just really awful, but great if you're into the gore the practical effects and stuff like that, and you're not into the storylines and you want to see a movie or two, well, yeah, over the top with no budget.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you got to give it to a lot of those guys because a lot of them tried. But
Well,
and
that's
a
how
lot
they
of,
sold those movies, though. Too was like it's either explicitly violent, or there's nudity, or there's usually both.
right.
Yep.
And now I will say this: I don't like every one of them because I do have limits myself. But
Oh yeah,
there are some good ones that came out of the genre that are, again, they're fun, they're gory. You know, you might get a flash or two, but it's mainly on the horror side, I guess. But
Yeah, and this is also Rodriguez's take on a zombie movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned how you said this is Tarantino and Rodriguez homage to the ultra hyper violent exploitation movies. I would easily argue that that's pretty much most of Tarantino's resume.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like a good chunk of his movies are basically love letters to the movies he used to watch when he was working as a video clerk.
mm-hmm.
I mean, actually, I've had I mentioned this on a Reddit thread, and Tarantino bros just jumped on my back. They're like, "How dare you, you know, not acknowledge Quentin Tarantino's genius?"
Lordy,
Like, yeah, I mean, he's a very competent director. He has a very distinct visual style, but let's call it what it is.
Yeah, he makes
Ain't that
exploitation
right, Gemini?
films that are slightly elevated because he's a good screenwriter and a good director.
Yeah,
well, I might get a lot of hate for this because, like, his movies are good, but, like, personally, I think there are better out there. But he does deserve his recognition. But I think his magnum opus and my favorite is Once Upon a Time.
That is a very
Like-
good movie. My personal favorite's Inglourious Bastards, but I would say probably his most competently made movie that's not having what Nick's describing most of his movies are is Jackie Brown.
yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
also because Tarantino was adapting a book.
Yes, based on the Elmore Leonard novel Rum Punch.
Yeah. Actually, I'll probably be basic and go with Kill Bill.
I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Well, okay, I would say Pulp Fiction would be more basic, but yeah.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction is more basic.
He got the fight scenes down in the Kill Bill movies. Like, those are the most beautiful part about those
Well,
two movies.
as important as a film as Pulp Fiction is not only for pop culture and independent cinema, I feel like he's just gotten better as a filmmaker since Pulp Fiction.
Okay, yeah. No. Oh, how could I forget? Oh God, Jamie Foxx, the
Django.
Django Unchained. Yes,
Did you?
that one I
Did you know
love.
Now, did I hear this correctly? But he was supposed to do a Zorro movie where, like, Django meets Zorro.
It was mentioned, but Tarantino's pretty famous about, like, oh, there's going to be a continuation of this character because there was going to be a movie with John Travolta and Michael Madsen playing twin brothers to Vic and Vincent Vega because they're actually brothers. And there's supposed to be a Kill Bill 3 where Vivica A. Fox's daughter grows up to go after the bride. And yeah.
Isn't he also retiring soon?
Yeah, he says he's only making one more movie and then he's retiring from directing.
Yeah, that's whenever it comes to like movie rumors like that, I don't believe anything until I see a trailer. Isn't that right, Gemini?
But Nick, you mentioned before we started recording that Rodriguez and the music is really like paying homage to John Carpenter, and he totally is.
Very much so. Yeah, Rodriguez is a pretty competent musician, I could say.
Yeah,
Well,
and I think
I like his band. Like he's got a pretty. They have some pretty good albums.
and while he's definitely a different filmmaker from John Carpenter, I think he did take that like, oh, John Carpenter does everything, I'm gonna do everything.
Well, yeah, that's. I could definitely tell that Carpenter is one of his influences.
I also like that in his films they're very they're always Latino centric as well.
Yeah, actually,
Like they're always
Except
like
for the
characters.
faculty.
yeah.
Well, except for the ones that he heads up personally, he always
And I guess this one technically is because I guess Freddie Rodriguez, is that his name?
Yeah.
Him and Rose McGowan, I guess, are co-leads.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And-
definitely Freddie Rodriguez character is channeling a Kurt Russell-like character from a John Carpenter movie.
Oh, he's that dude in every 80s B horror movie, and it's great. Like the badass who's a loner who comes in on a motorcycle or in a truck, and then he ends up, kicking ass and saving the day, and the cops don't like him, or the dad doesn't like him. Yeah, just a bad boy.
Speaking of someone else who's really good in this movie, Josh Brolin is very creepy in this movie and good at it.
Well, yeah. Actually, I think this was. Well, Josh Brolin hasn't. He's kind of been quietly working in Hollywood up until recently when he started hitting it big with this, and then he ends up playing Thanos.
Well, funny thing is this, I guess, was the year of Josh Brolin. While he's filming this movie, he shoots his audition video for No Country for Old Men and gets Rodriguez to shoot the audition tape.
Nice.
And when the
that's
Coens are
probably
watching
really
it, the Coens are like, who shot that video? It's a really good audition tape.
See, I didn't know that part.
Yeah, and
That's really
apparently
cool.
Tarantino directed it, and the actress playing his wife in Planet Terror read as the wife in No Country for the audition.
Nice.
Oh, and apparently this film, Kill Bill, Death Proof, and From Dusk Till Dawn are all connected because the Michael Parks Marshall character is the same guy in all those movies.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well,
Her dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
was just said, hang on. She gave me something to write down. Okay, she wrote something down.
And
She said the best parts of the movie for her were the Cherry getting a machine gun for a
okay.
leg.
Yeah, machine gun leg. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
She said Quentin Tarantino gets the worst of it.
Yes.
which he deserves, and I found it hilarious.
And she asked a question. She said, "Is he in on, or do you think he's in on the joke about what a huge creep he is, and that it's what makes his scene such a highlight?"
I don't know if he knows he's a creep, because I feel like Tarantino is so egotistical and narcissistic.
Because it seems like
Yeah.
it really seemed like Rodriguez was in on the joke. He's like,
Well, of course, Rodriguez. I'm gonna put.
Well, there are definitely gratuitous shots of feet in that movie.
Oh, wait until you see Death Proof.
Yep.
Okay, I will.
Which is Tarantino's version of a slasher movie.
Yeah, I dig it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I actually prefer the extended standalone version than the version that's with it together of Death Proof.
I have that on DVD. I have that unrated extended version of Death Proof, and I thought I had Planet Terror, but I do not. I have to take that.
I think that version's still the same. I don't think Planet Terror's like extended on its own. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's pretty much the same movie.
Okay.
There's not added
I don't know
scenes.
what else we could put in there.
But also, honestly, I think, Tarantino is definitely narcissistic. I've heard a couple of horror stories where, he kind of berated servers for not recognizing him. It's like, don't you know who I am?
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, you heard. I don't know. You heard about the whole crap with the making a Kill Bill, right?
Maybe I probably need a refresher.
I forget which stunt it was, but he apparently needed Uma Thurman to do a shot instead of having the stunt person do the shot, and she got slightly injured while they were filming the scene.
Whoops.
Also, another creepy thing about Tarantino, even though I like most of his movies, is in Inglourious Bastards, where Christoph Waltz is strangling Diane Kruger, I think is her name. Apparently, Tarantino insisted that he had to do that while they were filming it.
Okay, then.
Like, why do you need...
That's weird.
Very weird. I guess we should talk about Rose McGowan, right? She's the lead of the movie.
Yes, actually, I think this probably might be the only other time I've seen Rose McGowan in something.
Didn't watch Charmed?
I avoided that show like the plague.
The only little bit I saw was in the day room at the state hospital. While I was,
I think she replaced.
Oh, Shannon Doherty.
Yeah, she replaced Shannon Doherty on the show.
Yeah, talking about narcissistic people who fought into their own hype. That's basically the cast of Charmed. There's a video of Armin Shimmerman, who better known as for playing Quark on Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
He's at a convention talking about his career, and he said guest starring on Charmed was one of the worst experiences of his career.
Oh, wow.
He said there is a reason they were cast to play witches.
Dang! And that guy was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, too, with Joss Whedon, so...
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but to say Charmed was the worst acting, he said either that or Seinfeld.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
It's got horror stories about Jerry Seinfeld.
You know,
Yeah.
Seinfeld could
No.
have its funny moments, but I never was a Seinfeld person.
I have watched 3 episodes of Seinfeld through its entire run, and one of them was the finale.
Well, that's a show where the 3 supporting characters are better than the lead person of the show.
Yeah.
I could see that.
But did you guys know Rodriguez and Rose McGowan dated for a while after this was made?
See,
Oh,
I knew
okay.
the only thing I knew about Rose McGowan was, well, at least her relationships was when she was with Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, I'm sure dating Robert Rodriguez was a little less stressful.
Probably.
Because they were going to do a Barbarella remake, and a Red Sonja remake was announced with her as the lead and him directing.
I guess
Would have been
those have.
interesting. Barbarella would have been cool.
Yeah, actually, I saw the original Barbarella a few years back, and it was cheesy kind of fun.
Yeah, I've never
Oh, yeah.
seen it. I've just heard of it, and I know its reputation.
And
I
it's
had
also,
at one point, at one time, I had the Life magazine with her on the cover of it. It was really cool because it was like the giant, back when they had the giant size magazine, and it's in black and white. It was a really gorgeous looking
yeah.
magazine.
I just know the main thing I first knew about the movie was that's where the band Duran Duran got their name, was from, well, either the movie or the comic it was based on.
Oh,
Yeah, because Barbarella is a French sci-fi comic. French sci-fi can get really out there.
Yeah, that's also-
Planet of the Apes French science
Yep.
fiction?
and
Yeah.
the movie Snowpiercer is a French comic book.
Yeah.
That's what it's based off of.
Yeah.
So was Valerian.
Yes, Valerian.
Yeah.
Actually,
so
there's
is,
there's an anime version of Valerian which is supposed to be closer to the comic.
oh, okay. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Actually, I was thinking of the fact that after the Valerian comic debuted, Laureline became a really popular girl's name in France, and that name didn't exist before then.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lorelei?
interesting.
Laureline, yes.
What y'all think of Bruce Willis in this movie?
He,
I think he's hamming it up and having fun.
having it up in
Yeah.
his own Bruce Willis kind of way.
Oh yeah.
And then I forget the actor's name. He's mostly known for being in Lost, but he plays I guess the scientist that created the whole biological weapon.
I like him.
I would say Michael Biehn was having a little bit of fun with this movie too.
Oh yeah, just his back and forth with Jeff Fahey too about the whole barbecue sauce and everything. And he's like, I knew you cooked it at 250 degrees.
Oh God, that thing.
And he's like, fresh tomatoes? No, can? You're kidding me. Like they're dying and they're like...
Yeah, I thought that was a good scene. I like that.
I think my favorite gag is they actually bring the music into the movie and it's a guy playing saxophone in the prison cell. But then he uses the saxophone as a weapon.
It was good stuff.
Yeah. Well, it is almost 1 a.m. and we are clocking in an hour.
Yep.
So-
I mean, this is a fun movie. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Out of the two Robert Rodriguez movies, I would definitely watch Planet Terror over The Faculty.
I'll agree with you on that one.
Yeah, yeah, same here. They're
Though,
both fun and cheesy in their own right. Like I think you compare The Faculty with Scream, and just from the '90s nostalgia burst alone, I think they would that.
though, I will say this.
Yeah,
I when I saw it, when I first watched Planet Terror, I saw the trailer for Machete. So now
Yeah.
that is next on my list.
nice.
Yeah, because they also did fake trailers, and Rodriguez shot Machete, which he actually made into a movie. He actually did 2 movies.
Yes.
Well, they also did Hobo with a Shotgun too.
That wasn't, yeah, but that wasn't in Grindhouse though, because it was
No,
there was Thanksgiving, which you want to find someone creepier than Tarantino without the talent, Eli Roth.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm not a fan of his work. And then Edgar Wright did a movie. It's like a ghost haunted house movie called Don't,
Oh God.
which
oh,
someone
yeah.
which someone teased like someone teased when Jordan Peele announced that his new movie was Nope. Someone's like, now I need Edgar Wright to make Don't into a feature so we can double feature Nope and Don't.
Yeah, don't. Nope.
And then Rob Zombie shot Werewolf Women of the SS.
Which is a song on his album, or one of his albums here in the last couple of years.
And he got Nicolas Cage to show up as Fu Manchu. Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah, that is
But-
one thing I loved about the trailer. Like, was the. I guess that's one of the things I loved about this was, especially getting to see it in the theater, was how the film was messed up and missing sound and crinkly, and it burned up during the lovemaking scene when it got really explicit. Like it was like missing footage.
Yeah.
Sorry, and then like just everything from the special presentation music to the fake trailers that were just over the top, and I don't know. It's just a fun. It really is a fun double feature to watch with friends.
Yeah. I'll eventually watch Death Proof, and Machete's definitely on my list now.
Yeah, Machete was good. It's again, it's over the top, ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like Danny Trejo fun.
Well, Black Dynamite was pretty over the top, and it's one of my favorite movies.
It's
I
not
love
quite
Black
as good as Black Dynamite. That movie rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael J. White should be a bigger movie star.
He should, but I don't know. I guess he must have pissed off the wrong person.
Yeah, I guess so, because he's great in that movie.
And you know what? I blame everything but him for Spawn. Like
I mean,
bombing.
well, John Leguizamo rules in that movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
John.
yeah, I take that back. Both those two brought their A game. Like he was a badass Spawn, and John Leguizamo was the greatest creature.
But I mean-
around. They did an awesome job with that.
Keith David pretty friggin' rules as the voice of Spawn for the animated series.
Well, Keith David's voice pretty much rules, period.
It's true. I think he might have the coolest voice on the planet.
Yeah. He's
I-
our generation's James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
I would pay him ungodly amounts of money to just read to me. Just read to me, Keith David. I don't care what it is. It could be a manual.
Actually, it could have. Actually, it's kind of funny because when Princess and the Frog came out and he voiced the villain, Keith David is the Shadow Man. That is the only time I actually liked a Disney villain.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's great in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and of course, gargoyles.
Yes, Gargoyles. Keith David and most of the cast of Star Trek The Next Generation.
And some Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
And Voyager. Even some from TOS.
There you go. It's just Star Trek and Keith David.
Yeah.
Right.
And
well, guys,
Ed
what y'all? Oh, well, go ahead. Go ahead.
and Ed Asner.
Ah, a legend.
Yeah. But
What are you guys thinking about doing next week? What do you guys want to do next week?
Well, I know, Chris, you want to do Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I think Nick wants to do Monster Squad, right?
yes.
That'd be good.
Yeah, we could do that as a double feature. There's a new movie coming out that is connected to a film that came out earlier this year. The movie X. There's a movie coming out next week that's connected to that. It's a slight spoiler. But yeah.
I've waited to watch X because I wanted to do a double feature on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll have to look up X.
Interesting, and I can already tell from the trailer I'll be watching it by myself. Because that's just Lindsay's probably not gonna. I know what her limits are, and I can already tell this is not gonna be.
Well, there is one scene in the movie X that is kind of cringy, also hilarious, and I can't believe they just went buck wild and went with it. That is just wild.
No,
but
yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
But it's basically kind of like a Texas Chainsaw sort of story, but dealing with porno. And it's a sort of a slasher.
Okay, now I know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you said they made a follow-up movie to that?
It's connected to it, yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be Pearl.
Yeah, it's called Pearl.
Okay. Well,
that looks all crazy too. So that's, I don't know. So I watch X first and then watch Pearl, I guess.
All right. Well, let's. I think we should call it a night, gentlemen.
All right, guys. You guys have a good weekend. Thank you for if anyone listened or chimed in or is going to chime in the future. Thank you, and I guess we will be back next week with Monster Squad and Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, sounds good. I've never seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space, so that'll be a first watch for me.
Well,
I have seen it once, exactly once.
Lindsay and I watched it here a couple of nights ago, and it was Lindsay's first time. And she said it was bonkers. So.
And I've only seen Monster Squad once as well.
Oh, like that's early Shane Black.
Yeah, he wrote that with Frank Decker. Yeah, that came out the same year as Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's like Goonies, but with the classic.
Yeah, it's
Universal
basically
monsters.
Goonies with Universal monsters. Yeah, I've seen it once.
Yeah, I definitely see it as a spiritual successor to the Goonies.
But yeah, that's cool. We can do those.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then now I want to get into something a little spookier, but I guess we'll wait until Halloween. Like I've been wanting to watch The Black Moon, and we started it, but we had to stop.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I know it. I can't wait to see it.
What movie?
Black Phone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty darn good. It's got some of the best kid acting I've seen in a while.
Ooh, Killer Clowns is on Pluto TV, so and Plex. So yeah, I will be refamiliarizing myself with that in the coming week.
Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff coming out this Halloween season, though, that's connected to some stuff I want to talk about.
Well, we
We're
will
definitely doing
definitely.
the Halloween Kills. That'll be.
Yeah, there's a new Hellraiser coming out. Henry Selick's got a new movie coming out. The Jordan Peele and Keegan Michael Key doing the voices
Oh, nice.
on Netflix. Yeah, there's a lot. It's pretty cool.
All right.
Nice.
Well,
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on this late.
Yeah,
I had
thanks both of y'all for agreeing to do it late.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, always, man. I'm tired. I worked hard today, but all I thought about was like, man, I can't wait to go home. I know I'm going to be tired, but I can't wait to talk about some movies. So,
and it's
so
pleasure.
it was worth it.
As always, it's a pleasure talking about this with y'all.
Same.
Of course.
All right.
All right, guys.
Until next time.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.
Gemini says bye too.